everyone, it's me, Krista. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. If not, welcome for the very first time to my little art corner here on YouTube. Today is day 13 of Inktober. Today's prompt is ash. The two ideas that came into my mind for this one are both video game related. Shocking, I know. First I thought of the ash spawn from Skyrim because, yesterday I drew a dragon and was thinking about Skyrim for pretty much that entire time. And that bled into today, obviously. Because that's, spoiler alert, I picked to do an ash spawn. It's what I chose. The other idea kind of formed because whenever I think of ash, I think of vampires. Don't know why, I just do. And then I remembered that Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines has a character named Ash in it. And I could have done a portrait of him. I decided against it and went with the ash spawn because, at least with this, I'm doing something slightly different and it's a little scary looking. Ash is a toreador, and therefore he's really pretty, so I would just be drawing a pretty guy. He's interesting in the context of the game, but just drawing him for a project like this probably wouldn't be as interesting. And it took me a while, but I decided to use some of the items that I got in October's sketchbox for this. First, I just used a mechanical pencil to get the outline done, and now I am inking it with the Copic drawing pen, an F02, the one that has a quill kind of tip. It works a lot like a dip pen. I really like this. I'm going to want to use it all the time. When this one dies, I'm going to need to buy a new one immediately. I was excited to try it, but also nervous because I don't use dip pens very often. This one worked pretty well. You do have to sometimes take it off of whatever you're working on and press down on it to get the ink flowing again, but once you do, boy, it works beautifully, at least in my opinion. Also, once it's dry, if you go over it, it does not smudge, so yay! Another item I'm using that came in the October sketchbox is the Kuretake Cambio marker, and this one is in navy. I really like the fact that you didn't have to press it to get more ink out. Once the ink's flowing, it works pretty darn well. And I like the brush nib of it a lot. It applied a lot like a lot of brush tip alcohol markers I've used. I really enjoyed it. And I forgot that it was navy and that it was going to be quite this shade on the paper, but I think it works out in the end. By the way, I am using the Strathmore Mixed Media paper toned in blue. You guys probably know that, though, if you've been watching any of the other Inktober videos I've been doing. I also used the white Winsor & Newton ink. This ink is not as opaque as other ones I've used. I think it's because I use Speedball acrylic calligraphy ink or the Liquitex ones that are in acrylic ink. They're a little more opaque. This one's a little bit sheerer. And I'm applying it with the brush that came in the October sketchbox as well. That brush is a Silver Silk 88 flat shader. It worked well for what I was doing here. I do end up using a different brush later because I pull in a little bit of red ink. Ooh, ah. I went a little bit crazy with the amount of supplies I used for this one. I basically used everything but the kitchen sink compared to a lot of the other Inktober projects I've been doing. For the most part, I've been trying to keep it more minimal, and it just did not work. Here is where I'm bringing in some red. This is Daler Rowney watercolor ink in cadmium red. And to apply the red, I just used a really small round brush. And I once again forgot how sheer that ink is compared to other things. The red section is supposed to be like lava inside of these creatures. They were basically made after a volcano erupted. And we're going with that and trying to keep some of that aesthetic going on. But somehow completely missing the ashy looking or rocky looking aesthetic. Oh well, it happened. I'm also pulling in different liners. I'm pulling in the Marabu Fine Liner Graphics, which is part of a 4-piece set, and they have different widths and a brush tip marker. I mostly used the brush tip because I wanted that deep, dark black. And I wanted some of those deep, dark blacks to have much thicker lines. At first, I kind of attempted to do a background that looked like an ash desert. It changes, but I attempted. Because of how thin the Winsor Newton white ink is, I'm definitely pulling in a Posca pen to bring out some brighter, whiter highlights. And I was trying to at first have the sky look to be that unnatural white that it is in the game. I did not actually end up using a gel pen for this one. I had used a bunch of other stuff, but we did not pull in the white gel pen again for this guy. I really liked that Copic pen. I use it way too much in this drawing. I pulled in some of the other Marabou fine liners, but a lot of this I feel like I just kept going back to that Copic pen and making way too much texture. I do pull in a yellow water-based acrylic Sharpie to add some yellow to the molten lava idea. I also pull in a fine-tipped Crink marker in red to help make the red just pop a little bit more. I also did red and yellow dots in the background, which I do end up redoing a couple of times. That's meant to insinuate embers kind of flowing behind this dude as he is moving. And now we're at the point where I start using all the different black markers and the white ones and going back and forth multiple times and just start texturing the heck out of this drawing. I wanted to add some deeper black parts inside the actual thing, and I wanted to make the background blacker, too. I needed all that darkness. All of it. Even though I changed my plan a couple times and readjusted a lot of stuff, I had a lot of fun doing this one. Something about his expression kind of makes me giggle. He looks very happy for a Walking Dead pile of ash. I also liked the style I got with this one. It feels very much like an old school American comic book from about the 80s, late 70s, early 80s style-wise. I also got to use my favorite color combination. Red, yellow, and blue. Primary color scheme is always my favorite. I did switch it up a little bit by being a navy blue instead of the sky blue or a true blue color. With as much as I am loving this Copic pen, part of me is wondering if I need to take the plunge and use a dip pen in the actual inks I have, or if that is just too terrifying. But if I enjoyed this, there's a chance I'd like that too, right? I do notice that my ash spawn does not look very much like he is made out of rocks. He almost looks a little bit more like a Terminator skeleton, and I'm weirdly okay with that. I also really like these fine liners. I've used them a couple times, and I haven't really talked about it very much. They're really juicy, and they work pretty well, and I haven't had any issues with them skipping or anything. And I know I've used them on a couple projects, and they haven't dried out yet. I'd say it's a pretty good start, especially considering that they are fairly affordable compared to a lot of other fine liners. Oh, I also had an insinuation of a tree in the background that's gonna go away here eventually. Oh well. Here I started trying to do more with that background. I started trying to bring in that Zig Clean Color dot marker in gray, and ended up not really liking it. At this point, it's almost like I was trying to do an abstracted background but still make it look like something, when it would have just been better to do what I end up doing. And it just ends up being kind of a pit of darkness with some highlights. It happens. I went over the background again with white. Now I'm using the brush marker to get a heavier outline against the background. I wanted him to stand out a little bit more. I've noticed this Inktober with the past couple of projects that I'm going very line and texture heavy. Maybe I need to pull back from it a little bit, or maybe I just need to have fun and keep doing it. We'll see what I decide. I played around with a lot of line work. I've done some softer pieces where a lot of it was more just ink with water added and applying it more like watercolor. I've been trying to just play with certain things in different ways and trying to figure out what fits best for the subject I'm doing. At this point, I decided that he needed to be outlined in red. It helps him stand out more, plus it looks kind of fun. I know I explain my process so eloquently sometimes. Very eloquently, and with a lot of technical terms. Not really. I also bring more red into different lines inside of the body and some more dots. For some reason I decided, hey, let's try to make the sky red, and then immediately regretted it. Then I go over it with the blue marker and then the black one. I decided I just wanted to blend in with the rest of what I got going on. Have to bring in the hairdryer again. You've seen it make a couple of appearances in this video to help everything dry more quickly. So goodbye, sky, we had at one point. We're just going to keep drying you and going over you with different markers and trying to make you blend as much as I can. It does eventually blend pretty well. It's mostly because I add just a lot of black marker to try to get it to work. It ended up working out okay because I think he stands out a lot more, and it makes the little dots of yellow and red stand out significantly more. I've also noticed this is the third video in a row where I've done dots over a black background. At least it makes them kind of cohesive, I guess? Maybe? Well, this project is almost done here. Just adding some final touches. Inktober for me so far has been a lot of fun. Has it been fun for you guys? Let me know that, along with any comments, questions, feelings, or concerns you may have. Let me know in that comment section down below. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, or you just want to follow my Inktober videos, please subscribe. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day or night to watch this video. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys soon, and you will definitely be hearing from me soon. Bye, everybody!